Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar. Thank you for joining us today. So the focus of today's webinar will be on Power Platform and how it can help you to build an intelligent digital workplace. So with the rise of remote working, digital workplaces are becoming so much more important. And before we get properly started, I'm going to go through a bit of housekeeping. So on the right hand side of your screen, you should see a Q&A box. So feel free to post any questions, and throughout the webinar, we will aim to answer them and at the end. So now I'm going to go through some introductions. So my name is Kate. I'm the Senior Marketing Executive here at Clarkswell. I'm also going to introduce Mike. He is our Chief Technical Officer.
Hello. I'll be speaking.
And I'm George, an Account Executive here at Clarkswell.
Yeah. So introducing Clarkswell, we are an award-winning digital agency based in London. We are experts in Microsoft technology and we're a Microsoft Gold partner. And we have a range of services based on the Microsoft stack. And these include website development on Cyclone and Brackle, Azure hosting, and internal communications and document management services within Microsoft 365. We're also technical experts, so we have around about 35 smart people who take a genuine interest in our clients' businesses and tailor our advice to their specific requirements. A good example of this is that Mike, our CTO, has been working with the Microsoft technology since the late 90s, so you can say he is truly an expert. We also value partnerships, so we're invested in developing long-term partnerships that bring continuous benefit to our clients. And Clarkswell have been in the business for over 20 years, and we have some of our clients have been with us from the start. And then lastly, why are we doing this webinar? So we are experts in Microsoft, and we like to keep up with all the new features that Microsoft release so that we can give the latest and best advice to our clients. And Power Platform is something that we think is really big and exciting and that you should really know about. So before we get properly started, I'm going to go through the agenda. So firstly, we're going to go through what is Power Platform and then why it's important. And we're going to go through some real life use cases. And then Mike is going to go through a demo of Power Platform and some of its components. And then we will go through some of the next steps.
So what is Power Platform? Power Platform is Microsoft's latest suite of business programs which are designed for the modern workplace. They're designed to make development and deployment of software and apps faster and easier. And Power Platform offers a low-code solution for what Microsoft refers to as citizen developers. And while this is fast and easy and app deployment can be quite fast, the Power Platform still offers scope comparable to that of traditional developed business software. So the foundation of the Power Platform is the Dataverse, which Microsoft previously referred to as the Common Data Service. Common Data Service is probably a better sort of descriptor of what the Dataverse actually is. It's effectively common storage for your company data. And the Power Platform, which is just pictured above there, draws from this data in order to function. So running left to right, the little app icons there, we have Power Automate, PowerApps, Power BI, and Power Virtual Agents. And the Dataverse and Power Platform is all stored in the Azure cloud environment.
So why should you use Power Platform? So it can help transform your data into business solutions. And in this digital world where we generate, store and analyze data in massive quantities, Power Platform helps to transform that data into actual business solutions and processes. And we've seen this with a lot of our own clients and sparking a lot of ideas and possibilities that just weren't there before. And it can also help to automate processes with no out-of-the-box solution. So say you wanted to make a new starter process for your business, Power Platform can let you build a particular solution that you need. So it basically allows you to build custom solutions. Small and large companies alike use Power Platform in their everyday business processes. The fact that 97% of Fortune 500 companies use Power Platform really illustrates the value. And then lastly, the main benefit is that you can build apps quicker and easier. And what's not to love about that, really?
Thank you, Kate. So running through the suite itself, first up we have PowerApps, which allows you to build and create mobile and tablet applications. As I've sort of previously said, this is designed for rapid deployment of tailored software, and in this case, business apps. but its sort of more extensive capabilities can be leveraged by pro developers to create more advanced applications. Next up, we have PowerAutomate, which is Microsoft's workflow automation tool. Sort of similar to other programs such as If This Then That, which is a smartphone app, or macOS's Automator. PowerAutomate is just automates workflows, but it's more powerful and more business oriented. So PowerAutomate is comprised of triggers, flows, and connectors. Now, a trigger will initiate a workflow, and this could be something such as receiving an email or a pre-set scheduled trigger, which could be a time or a date. And a trigger will initiate a flow. And a flow can be anything quite simple. This could be something like updating a database, sending an email to someone, sending a Teams notification, or it could be something highly specific and very tailored. And yeah, so out of the box, Microsoft also comes with Microsoft PowerAutomate also comes with a series of connectors, which the flows can draw from, and there are hundreds available out of the box. Pre-made, and these are either on a premium tier or a free tier, and you can also create custom connectors as well. These link out to services, and it's a highly extensive number of services. This could be anything from Twitter to Google Drive, Vimeo to Excel. And bundled in recently within PowerAutomate is a process advisor, which uses artificial intelligence to identify where PowerAutomate could be of use within your organization.
So Power BI, you've all probably heard of it before. It's used to write reports, and it can empower team members to discover insights hidden in your data. So it's a data visualization tool, and it shows live dashboards that allows you to access real-time data and insights. And this helps to highlight key business problems and to also make solutions to those problems. And as with all of Power Platform, it connects to a wide range of data sources. And last but not least, Power Virtual Agent is used to build intelligent chatbots without code. So this really reduces the costs as it's no code and you don't necessarily need a developer. It also allows you to build internal and external chatbots, so you can respond rapidly to your employee and customer needs. And a good example of this would be, say, a return to work internal chatbot that would pull up resources in response to simple or frequently asked questions that an employee returning to work may have to ask. Now, before we go into Mike's demo, I'm going to just run through what to expect from it. So Mike will illustrate briefly a new starter process using Power Automate and Power Virtual Agent, where he will show how to automate new starter tasks with Microsoft's Planner, generate new user accounts and group memberships, and illustrate Power Virtual Agent for a new starter. So handing over to you, Mike.
Hello. Let me just share my desktop and show you through the process. So any organization of any size, and certainly any size with Office 365, is going to have a joiner process. And traditionally, that's going to be a lot of people emailing a lot of people to do things in a lot of different roles. So usually the process would be HR confirms the hire, they email IT will create an account, sign a license, Teams, you have emails going off to payroll. And well, as you know, with any process that's all driven through email, there's not really any tracking there. So there's a lot of back and forth and it can get a bit messy. So how can Power Automate help? So problems one at a time is, well, we need visibility of where the process is. Now, what we could do is we could just do it in a Microsoft list, or we can use a dedicated tool. So Microsoft Planner. I'm looking at them both through the realms of Teams here. So with Planner, you'd go in, you'd add a task, and you start at whatever. But that's not the most efficient way of doing it, because you've got quite a lot of information that you need to gather. So what we've done here is we've used Microsoft lists to create within Teams just a list containing all of the items that all of the information that we need to know about a new starter. So the name, who the manager is, the office location, department, mobile phone, and a couple of things associated with the onboarding process, or whether they've looked at documents and so on. So I think that's all very well, but what we really want is that's all within the HR team. What we really want is some visibility of the progress of those tasks in Planner. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little Power Automate onto that list to create the associated Planner tasks. Now, for the moment, we have to, as you just saw, go from Teams and into SharePoint, because Microsoft List, despite the rebranding, is still SharePoint under the hood. So we'll come here, we'll go Integrate, Power Automate, and we'll create a flow. Now, as George said, there are hundreds of these templates available, and most of them from Microsoft, some from the community, or checked out by Microsoft. And we're going to use Create a Planner task for selected item. So just fire up, agree to the permissions, which will just be connecting to the list and to the planner. So it's a new starters list. We want to stick it into the HR tasks plan. Got a new starters bucket. Start it straight away. We want it to have a nice sensible title. New starter process. Take preferred name from the list. Then there's a little bit of magic while we wait for the task to be created. And then we'll put some actual tasks in here in the planner task. So create an account in the manager, add a license, and so on and so forth. And finally, we'll just give it a nice sensible name. New starter plan, so that we know what it's doing. So if we save that and go back over to our list, if we now select an item, go to Automate, there we go, create new starter plan. It'll just fire off, say, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's brand new, do you trust all this? And we'll run the flow. Now, if we go back to Teams, go back to HR tasks, by the power of, here we go, by the power of a live demo actually working, which is always amazing, we've created our basic task in here. Now, one thing I forgot to do when we were running through it is obviously you probably want to assign it to somebody more useful than just the person initiating the task. So because we've got the manager information in there, we can assign it to the manager and probably somebody in IT. So, but when you actually look at the tasks that are required, we're creating an account in Microsoft Azure. We're signing a manager, that's again in Azure, signing a license. Well, again, that can be in Microsoft Azure, as you can assign a license based on group membership. And it's fairly clear that all of these things are just things that we're doing on a computer within the Microsoft ecosystem. So if we know what we need to do and have all the information required to do it, why don't we delve a little deeper into automation and have the Power Platform do the jobs for us. So there's no template for this one. But here's one I created earlier. So again, we're getting for the selected item. Now we could also do this on just creation or modification, but for demo purposes, I didn't really want this to be firing off, so it's a lot easier to keep it for a selected item. So we're going to use the information that we've put in the list to get the username. We're going to create them using Active Directory. We're going to get the details from the manager. We're going to assign the manager to them. We're going to add them to the new starters group. We're going to add them to the teams. We're going to inform the requester and the manager that the account has been created. We're going to update the item so that the people looking at the planner, so people can look at the list can see the progress, and we're going to update the task so that people looking at the planner can see the progress. We could even, if we were feeling really keen, text the username and password to the mobile phone of our new starter, but that's a premium connector, so we would have to pay for that, whereas everything else is included within our Microsoft license. So let's go back to our list and run that Power Automate. Run the flow and through a little bit of yeah, here we go. So we can see our flows run. So you can see the Bob the Builder account has been updated in there. Research. We can see that in the Magic of Live demos, it's decided to not show up there, but I will have to have a look at that. Yes. The other thing that the list was supposed to do is update this planner task, but that has not been updated. So something's gone wrong. The question, but there's been no indication back to me as the user as to what's gone wrong, and that's one of the problems with the Power Automate. You see it a lot in the templated ones and deliberately in this one. Is Power Automate isn't great at error handling. This is where your low-code solution starts to cross the line between a citizen developer and a professional programmer. From this very quick demo, there's obvious things I'm not doing. I'm not using scopes to check for errors. I'm not checking whether the user exists before, and I'm using a standard password rather than generating something random because it's quicker that way. But going into the details of exactly how to achieve it is a little bit too technical for this chat, because we want to stick with no code and low code, not push the boundaries into scopes and try catch loops. So what we'll do is we'll switch back to a nice no code solution. So if we're putting these new starters into the new starter group, what are we actually targeting them with? Well, it's safe to assume they're going to have questions. So the best way to answer those questions is for another pillar of Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents. So this is again access through Teams, and we're just going to very quickly create one now. So because it's through Teams, it's associated with a team, so we're going to put it in our human resources team there. We're going to call it new starters. Now, when you create these bots, they're created with lots of default topics. things like the greeting, and there's going to be some lesson topics that they're called, which are just there to help you learn the system. So the first thing you really want to do once you've created your bot is go in and change some of those default topics, which I will do in a moment when it's decided that my bot is fully created. Because if I do this a little bit too soon, it goes a bit mad. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. So I'm just going to go into the topics, find the greeting topic. I'm going to go to the author and canvas and say, hi, you're new here. Ask me anything about working at Clarkswell. So we'll change some of the default stuff, and then let's add an actual topic. So we'll call this one leave. What we want to do is have lots of trigger phrases about leaves. How are people going to ask about their leave allocation? So how much holiday do I get? Now, doing this for real, you would have lots of answers and lots of questions in there, because what you want to do is just think of all the different ways that somebody can be asking the same question, or at least to get the same response. There is some amount of AI in there. So how much holiday do I have? How much leave do I get? That they should all be more or less picked up, and we'll go off to give them the answer. So and then save that. Then once we've created everything, tested our bot, we can publish the bot. And this is where it breaks up a little bit, but what we're going to do is say to the admin, hey admin, we've got this new bot. Can you make this available for the new starters group? And then when the admin comes into Teams admin, and we look at Teams apps, we can see that we have a new custom app has been submitted. And we can allow that app, and then go into our setup policy, go to the policy that's targeted at our new starters. Oops. And do it in the right order. Let's do the new starters. No. Right, it's going to play up and take a while before it's showing it to me now. But essentially what it will come down to when that's all completed is I'll have a shiny new button here in the left-hand menu for your joiners, for your new starters. This is one I created earlier, called joiners questions for a bit of variation. Now, bots can seem a little bit gimmicky, just an extra step between your users and the information they're after. But what they can do that an FAQ page cannot is act on the user input for a Power Automate flow. So using that, we can create follow-up questions. For example, have you read and understood the leave policy? So let's give that a go. Hello. Right. How much holiday do I get? And there we go. Ask the question. It's going to tell me the answers, and I'm going to say yes, I've read and understood the policy. And it's going to ask me for a little quiz. So yes, I'm ready for a little quiz. And who should you contact to book leave? Well, because we're all rigged up with Power Automate, then if I just fill in the leave request form, it'll contact the line manager, project manager, and the office manager, all in terms for the approval process, and I don't need to do anything else. So I'll just fill in the lead form and I'll contact everyone. And that's right, it's all driven by Power Automate. Now, what's also driven by Power Automate, if I go back into my team and look at my new starters list, we can now see that Bob the Builder, who I was impersonating for the purpose of this demo, has now read and agreed to the holiday policy. Now, we can then, as the new starter acknowledges that they've read the leave policy, health and safety policy, diversity policy, human trafficking policy, and whatever policies are deemed necessary, we can record all of this. And eventually, when they've acknowledged that they've read and understood all of these policies, which we can do either, as we've seen that there, for a Power Virtual Agent, or we could do it for a Power App, or we could construct something in SharePoint to do it, or we could do it through adaptive cards sent via email. But however we're doing it for the Power Platform, we can then remove them from the new starters group and automatically, and then stop plaguing them with requests to do this. And of course, if they don't fill in all this stuff, we can alert their manager and have them give them a prod to do the right thing. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you, Mike. That was a really great and informative demo. I'm just going to share my screen again. So yeah, so that was a great demo of just a tiny amount of what Power Platform can do, and that with an experienced developer, the world really is your oyster with Power Platform. And so just before we finish, I just want to say thank you for attending the webinar, and we hope you found it useful. And if you want to have a chat with one of our experts surrounding the Microsoft 365 stack, and in this case, Power Platform, our experts would be happy to sit down with you and have a chat about it. We'll be in touch shortly after the webinar with a recording, but in the meantime, feel free to contact us with the details on the screen and ask any questions. That is it from us for now, and we hope you have a great rest of the week, and thanks again for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.